Welcome to John S.'s Sports Channel, where we're doing League One predictions again, and it's time for League One Week 34. We're going to jumble it up a little bit. We're going to start with the likes of Wigan, Reading, Huddersfield, Birmingham. Yes, Birmingham are in here. Let's stay and have a little bit of a listener review to the last game that each team played and the next game that's coming along, Wigan Athletic. Wigan Athletic, of course, won their last game against Huddersfield Town, and it was a really, really good game. They deserved to win overall. Yes, they certainly did. They started strong, and they started the strongest. I've been saying for a while that team could gel at some point and do really good football, and they did. They gelled. They did good football. Yes, they were playing a Huddersfield side that isn't the strongest that they've been all season. However, they ran that game from the first minute through to about 45 minutes. The first goal, I do think that was offside. However, they scored a good second goal. Now, would that have made it 1-1? Yeah, quite likely. So we'll sort of come to that in a minute. In the second half, they came out not quite as good, not quite firing on all cylinders, and Huddersfield managed to get back into the game. They never really looked like getting an equaliser to me. They were just a little bit better, and if you look at the stats for that, you realise that the game wasn't really as even as it may look. Yeah, so we got 5 shots on target out of 8 for Wigan, and we got 2 shots on target out of 9 for Huddersfield. So they would have been quite disappointed, I think, Huddersfield. And when they went home, they probably thought, well, we deserve to lose that one. We've got to be shooting on target more than twice. Birmingham, on the other hand, when they played Reading, got a 0-0. Reading fans will be really, really happy about this. They started the stronger Reading, and they certainly played really good football in that first half. Second half, again, same thing. Reading really did pull back in that second half. The reason, why did they play so well in the first half? I look at that and I kept seeing them really narrow play. They were playing all the way down the middle, short passes between people. They occasionally passed it out to the wing, occasionally, but then as soon as they passed it out to the wing, they'd lose the ball to Birmingham because they're really good all over the pitch. It was the fact that they were going down the middle, really narrow play, and one of the commentators from Sky mentioned that it was so narrow play in the first half. Amazing. But it was working. And Reading really did, I think, flummoxed Birmingham a little bit there because they weren't expected to play so well, and they weren't expected to play so solidly down that middle third. So did it work? Yes, it did. They drew 0-0 in second half. Of course, Birmingham came back, and wow, did you see the Reading clearance off the line? He fell on the floor, kicked it away with his foot. What a clearance! Another day that would have gone in, and then you've got the clearance that was going millimetre perfect into the top left-hand corner. And he actually grabbed the bar and headed it over. I mean, how on earth did he manage to do that? And on a different day, if Birmingham can get 3 shots on target like they did in this game, they can usually get 1 or 2 in the net. They perhaps should have done. Those 2 clearances were absolutely brilliant. Birmingham fans, 12 shots, 3 on target. They would have been pretty happy. They really need a bit more than 4-1, I think, being at the top. But they would have been happy with the number of shots, and they're happy with the number of shots on goal because they usually score from 3. But they didn't. I think Birmingham fans will be the most disappointed. Reading fans will be astonished by their defensive prowess. And 0-0. So we just quickly look at the games. Other than that, Wigan Athletic 1-1. Draw, a loss, a draw, a win against Huddersfield. And for Reading, a lose, win, draw, win, draw. They're quite mixed up. There's 3 draws on either side, and I'm just a little bit worried that this might be a sort of 1-1 draw. However, Reading played really well in defence, and I think that 0-0 draw told me that they can really... I mean, if you look at the number of goals they've let in, it's either been 0 or 1. So they're really, really good at the back. However, they do let a goal in every so often. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Can Wigan score more? Yes, they can, but they can also let goals in. I'm going to go for one of your scores. What have you saying? You're saying 1-0 to Wigan, 1-0 to Reading, 2-0 to Reading. I'm actually going to go with one of you, but I'm going to go straight into... I'm going to go against the majority of you. I'm going to go Wigan 1, Reading 0, and we'll move on to the next game. So let's go Stevenage versus Huddersfield, and did we start with this because obviously we've just reviewed the Huddersfield game. Let's review the last Stevenage game. Stevenage won against Shrewsbury Town 1-0. However, Stevenage had 6 shots, none on target. The one that they scored was an own goal, of course. So it went their way. Now Stevenage will be happy about that. The fans will certainly be happy because Shrewsbury Town ran this game from the off. Remember that for when we go to their game. Shrewsbury Town had 10 shots. Okay, 2 on target, but with where they are, that's actually not so bad. 4-1 for a ratio for a middle side is pretty good. For a bottom side to get 2 out of 10 is actually quite good. However, they would have expected to have got a goal from about 4 or 5 shots on target, but they didn't get that far. So they would still be upset at at losing this one because they really should have won this one. But Stevenage came off 1-0 winners, and we have to give them for the fair dues for that. They would certainly have had the most happiest fans coming away from the ground, Stevenage. Huddersfield, on the other hand, they lost to Wigan 2-1, and they didn't start well. That first half wasn't good. The second half was better. I didn't really see anything brilliant. I think it was about 2 shots on target, wasn't it, Huddersfield fans? You know, is that good enough? Is there something wrong with that team at the minute? Because, you know, it's not been going too well. In the last 6 games, they only won 2 games. One against Barnsley 2-1, and they're playing not very good at all. And one against Shrewsbury Town, and we know where they are in the league. So, well, let's have a look at the last 6 games then. Stevenage, lose, draw, lose, win. You know, fluke or not, they won it. Huddersfield Town, lose, draw, win, lose. You know, this game, to me, is really one of attrition. And I think that Stevenage in 12th, Huddersfield in 5th. Huddersfield don't want to be dropping any further. They had a nice gap there. And I thought that they were going to project and propel themselves into 2nd place. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. It may still happen. They can still turn it around this season. What do you think, Huddersfield fans? Can you turn it around? Is it possible? What's wrong with that side at the minute? Because when you look at that, the last 6 games, lose, draw, win, lose, and you see those wins are against Barnsley and Shrewsbury, it's a little bit worrying, isn't it? Because you're starting to play like my side, and nobody plays like that. Forget that one. So, what are you all saying? 1-0 to Huddersfield, 1-1, 1-0 to Huddersfield. Yeah, we're all sort of 1s and 1-1s, and I'm going to go with one because I'm going to go with Stevenage 1, Huddersfield Town 1, and we'll move on to the next game. So, Peterborough versus Shrewsbury Town, and we've already done Shrewsbury Town. Shrewsbury Town played really, really well against Stevenage, and really should have won that one. So, really, Shrewsbury, you'll be really feeling yourself unlucky there. Peterborough had a humdinger of a Virtue Trophy. Don't usually cover them, but got picked on by the Birmingham fans so much because they're at Wembley and we're not. I didn't get about 20k from being at the final or something silly. Peterborough and the Wrexham game was absolutely amazing. Humdinger, one end to the other. It was really good. An enthralling game to watch. 2-2, and I tell you what, that that doesn't project a team in 20th. Peterborough played out of their skin there. I really enjoyed it, and they controlled some of that game really, really well against a very, very good Wrexham team. So it was Wrexham 2, Peterborough 2. Very, very good performance. And I'm a little bit hesitant to say that, but they're in 20th, because actually, Shrewsbury in 23rd, and they also played very well last time out, even though they lost. The opposition obviously getting 0 shots on target and winning 1-0. So Peterborough lose, win, lose, draw, win, draw, but winning on penalties. And then Shrewsbury win, draw, lose, lose, lose. I think that the Shrews will be feeling a little bit dejected by this. And they are in 23rd. They do need to start winning. They can start winning, but they've just hit Peterborough at a point, I think, where they've started to make very solid changes. They're really playing quite well. And I don't think that defeat against Charlton 2-1 away 4 games ago, the last time they lost, was actually a bad game. They actually played reasonably well in that game. They just don't seem to have had the run of the pitch a lot of the time for some strange reason, unlike Blackburn in the Championship. It's going to be difficult. I think we'll go with some of what you're saying. We've got 1-0 to Peterborough, 1-0 to Peterborough, 3-0 to Peterborough. I'm going to go with one of you. I think this could be 1-0 either way, but I'm going to go with flick of the coin probably here. Peterborough 1, Shrewsbury Town 0, but this could be completely the opposite way round. Let's see, and please comment down below, like and subscribe, and we'll go on to our next game. So, Stockport versus Blackpool next, and Stockport played Cambridge United and they lost 2-0. Cambridge were actually the better side there, and Cambridge, they were just solidly the better side all the way through the game, which is really strange because, you look where they are in the league and you think, they haven't been playing greatly, but they've been steadily improving. And I've been saying on my lives against some of the and on some of the videos that I've had comments on, some of the Cambridge fans are saying that it's a little bit bad down there. They have been improving, but not quick enough. And here they played a really staunch game of football. And Stockport County ended up, of course, with a defender, Connolly, getting sent off on 90+2. Will that make a difference against Blackpool? Well, it may do, but there's a little twist in the tail, isn't there? So stay tuned, people. This twist gets a little bit more interesting. Stockport did have 60% of the play, 18 shots, 5 on target, and didn't score. They would have been fuming that they didn't get those in the net. However, they were quite long shots on the whole. So Cambridge did a good job, and I kept seeing them really high back line, and I'm thinking, it's working. It made several of those shots that were on target. I remember one going down the left-hand side, and Cambridge line just came straight forward. And it forced the Stockport guy to shoot from distance, and it worked. Really did work. So Cambridge were deserved winners there. I think 5 shots, 2 on target, 2 in the net. They controlled that game quite well, and they certainly did seem to. Although they didn't have the ball as often and they didn't make as many passes, they looked. They played a more exciting football, and I think with the shots and how close they managed to get to the net, I think that they were just about deserved winners there. So what about Blackpool? Well, Blackpool won at Crawley, and of course they got their striker sent off, didn't they? So Ashley Fletcher, 32 minutes, didn't seem to make any difference whatsoever. Blackpool ran this game all the way through, and Crawley had 69% possession. This is where the stats don't seem to really marry up. They had 534 passes, Crawley, against Blackpool's 228. The stats say that Crawley had all the game. But when I look at it, and when I look at the reviews and the playbacks, the time that Crawley had the ball wasn't shown because it was always passing it around in their own half. They didn't really threaten. They didn't have a chunk of game where they played a lot of that football up in the Blackpool half and deservedly, put pressure on the goal. 14 shots though to Crawley, 5 on target, 1 in the net. They'll be happy with the ratios. But with those sort of and 69% possession, you would expect them to have won it. But Blackpool just did more with the ball when they had it, and we'll say this as Sky puts it. The excitement of the game was all on Blackpool. Blackpool played the good football. Blackpool played the exciting football that Sky wanted to put on the reviews. So the actual review of the game is fully Blackpool because they played the more exciting football here. Yes, they only had 31% play, but Blackpool fans will be thinking, we deserved that win. We played really, really well. Okay, we didn't have the majority of the ball. In fact, we only had it 31% of the time, but we played a good game of football. So Blackpool will be the ones coming out of that feeling, if we can get more players, well, how many can we win by? So we've got Stockport County on win, draw, win, lose against Cambridge. They didn't really turn up for me. And then you got Blackpool with win, draw, win. And although they had very little amount of play, they were actually the better side for enjoyment and for a neutral like me. So which way do we go? It's very difficult because both of them Stockport have been doing really well until the last game. Blackpool have been doing a steady job at getting draws. They haven't lost in the last 6, but they've had 4 draws and 2 wins. So it's very, very difficult here because I know we've got the Blackpool striker Ashley out, and we've got the defender from Stockport out with a red card. So it's a case of which way around. They've got a defender out, but your main striker's out. So it's going to be difficult, and I can't it's one of these that it could be 0-0. It really could. What are you all saying? It's 4th against 11th, but I think that the position here really doesn't make any difference whatsoever. As Roy would say from my Mansfield supporter, he'd say, well, any team can beat any team, and we can here. Stockport 4th, Blackpool 11th. What are you saying? 2-1 to Blackpool, 2-1 to Stockport, 1-1. I hate sitting on the fence, guys, but we're going to agree with you. We're going to go Stockport 1, Blackpool 1, and move on to the next game. So let's go Crawley versus Cambridge next, because obviously we've looked at Crawley. Crawley lost last time out against Blackpool, and they really did have a lot of that game possession-wise, almost 70% possession, but they just couldn't get anything, couldn't get out a winning formula out of that. And once, they just don't seem to be able to make that that extra impetus that they've got during games into to wins in that game. So I'm just thinking, where have they been? Lose, win, draw, lose. It's been up and down all over the place. Mainly people have been able to take control over the game when they've not been playing very well. And I think that's realistically what happened with Blackpool. They played really, really brilliant football. I'd love to watch it, and that's why the Sky reports put so much of Blackpool in the gameplay. You almost saw no Crawley play, even though they had near 69% possession. Very little of that review on Sky was actually about Crawley. However, they played it around the back and in their half of the pitch most of that time and didn't really look like being a threat up front. And Blackpool get their striker sent off, and again it made no difference. It really made no difference. They still, when they had the ball, Blackpool had the majority of that play up in Crawley's half. In fact, in the final third for Blackpool. So they need to be able to push that get that possession further up the pitch. Cambridge, on the other hand, what have they been doing? Lose, draw, lose, win, and they've been playing pretty poor up to about 6-7 weeks ago, when they started to just turn this a little bit of an improvement. And Stockport, I actually think that they deserved that 2-0 win. They played really, really well, and I think that they should be proud of that win, because this could show that they can actually get out of this and do something about it. Crawley Town in 18th, Cambridge in 17th. And Cambridge a few weeks ago would have been thinking, no, we're dead and buried. They're starting to get points. I mean, in the last 4 games alone, 5 points from 4 games, that will get you out of the bottom, and it has got you out of the bottom. And if you can keep on doing that, I think that will be probably the way that it will go. Now, we've already looked at the Blackpool and the Stockport game. So where do we think this is going to go? Because this is actually another one of those really different. They're close together in the table, 17th versus 18th. They're both really good at drawing games. However, Cambridge tend to either lose it or win it more than what Crawley do. Can Cambridge get one over on Crawley? But Crawley are likely just to keep that ball. Will that frustrate Cambridge or not? I think Crawley are at home. They're going to this ability to just keep the ball and keep it in your own half without actually getting into the final third and striking on goal may just really annoy the Cambridge players. I reckon it could be 1-1, but from what I've seen of your scores, you're saying 1-0 Crawley, 1-0 Cambridge, 1-0 Cambridge, 1-0 Crawley. It's 1-0 either way. Nobody's saying a draw, so I'm going to have to not sit on the fence, aren't I? So which way will we go? We'll go with Crawley 1, Cambridge 0. This could be completely the opposite way round. I don't think it's going to be more than 1-0. There have been high-scoring games for both sides. Birmingham won Cambridge 4-0, and on the other side, Crawley got beat 3-1 last time out. They got beat 4-3 at Bolton. So there are goals there are goals against. And I think they can both score 2 or 3 if they really want to. But I think that's where I'm going to go. And we'll go on to the next game. So let's look at my side. We'll go Bristol Rovers versus Rotherham United. And Bristol Rovers lose, win, draw. Win, lose. It's been quite up and down, hasn't it? Sometimes they turn up, sometimes they don't. More often than not, they've been turning up. And I think Bristol, the last time out away at Northampton, they did actually play rather well, and Northampton just came back into it steadily, I thought. A very even game overall. Bristol Rovers should have made more of that first half. I think they were shining in the first half. Second half, they seemed to just relax a little bit, and they sort of let Northampton back in. That second goal of Northampton, that just snuck between post and legs. Should never have happened. That should never have gone in. However, they let it in, and they lost 2-1. Rotherham United played at home to Barnsley, lost 1-0. They've lost, drawn, lost. 1 point out of their last 6. Don't look like winning. Don't play football very well, and they look like they're just dropping like a rock. Or even a lead weight. They played badly against Barnsley. Didn't look like scoring. Didn't score. Barnsley weren't very good either. They scored, but it was a 52-minute penalty. We do tend to be making silly mistakes at the back, and we are prone to. We got away without a penalty, I think, earlier on in the game. Perhaps should have been one for them, but on the whole, it's a side that can play good football, are at home against a side that play absolutely awful anytime, and I think we've not won that many games away from home. In fact, our Cambridge game was the first win in 2 years, almost 2 years, a couple of weeks off, I think. We're dreadful. What are you saying? Because I can only see Bristol Rovers win here. You're saying 0-0, 2-0 to Bristol Rovers, 1-0 to Bristol Rovers. I would say a 3-0 to Bristol Rovers as well. I'm going to go with one of you. I can't see a win. Would it be a draw, 0-0? I can't see that either. I'm going to go with Bristol Rovers 2, Rotherham United 0, and we'll sadly move on to the next game very quickly, please. So we go with Exeter versus Northampton next, and Exeter have been playing reasonably well over the last few games. They've not done too bad. The last 3 games have been quite good. What's the last 6 games done? Lose, and then draw, win, lose. But the Charlton game, they never really were in it. I think that Charlton deserved to win that 1-3-0. They did play the better football all the way through the game. They were very technical. Not as technical as I think they can be, but Exeter certainly weren't out of it. They did play some good football in there. They should be able to, I think, just to keep their noses above water and just manage to stay out of the relegation, I think, just about. But it's going to be tough because the bottom teams are starting to play some better football as well. So how do we look at Northampton? Northampton, of course, one place above them in 17th. And, Northampton have gone from completely awful to just about winning. I mean, they must be thinking this is really good. Lose, win, win, lose, win, lose. And to be honest, those 2 games that they won 5 and 4 games ago, Huddersfield 3-2 win, Mansfield 1-0 win. Huddersfield were playing awful at that time. They were getting bad results. The verve had gone from the players, and they just didn't seem to have that enthusiasm. And I think their heads were down. And they won them 3-2. Mansfield the same. They'd lost several games in a row. Played both those teams at the right time, and they won Mansfield 1-0. And you can see where they won that. They won that because they were playing the right teams at the right time. Wrexham 2-0 defeat, and then Northampton won against Bristol Rovers. That's the only game where they played really well and deserved the win against a side that could also play really good and could also have deserved a win. But it was quite a decent game. But on the whole, Northampton did deserve the 2-1 win against Bristol Rovers, and they'll be happy that in the last 5 games they've got 9 points, which has taken them from we're going down to actually we can really get out of this and a little bit further, hopefully to mid-table. And they can if they keep playing the right teams at the right time. Certainly, let's see what you lot think, because we've got an Exeter team at home that have been, a little bit hot and cold. Last time out, we wouldn't have expected them to get anything against Charlton. Northampton, they played Barnsley last time out, and Barnsley got DeGivney sent off, which will be a bit of another hit for Barnsley, which they've not been doing very well at all themselves, have they? But they lost 2-1, and on the whole, I think if we look at the game stats, Northampton really should have just about snuck that one. Probably about 2-1 to Northampton would have been a fair result, but it wasn't. It was 2-1 to Barnsley, and go to see what you all think. So what are you thinking? Exeter 18th, Northampton 17th, really critically. And neither of these want to lose. That's the main thing. And I'm thinking this may be the point that we've got here. 1-0 to Exeter, 1-0 to Exeter, 2-1 to Northampton. And I'm starting to think that we're not quite sure which way this is going to go, are we? And I'm I'm frantically working out which way. I'm actually going to go with I'm going to go against all of you. I'm going to go Exeter 1, Northampton 1, and I'm going to sit on the fence and move on to the next game. And we go on to Barnsley versus Lincoln, and Barnsley last time out won against Northampton Town, and like we said earlier, Northampton Town really should have won this one. Barnsley were second best just in this game. However, if you look at the game, they did actually have their chances. They had Duguivny sent off, and all of this should have made for a pretty one-sided game just to Northampton, but it wasn't. It was a win for Barnsley, 2-1. Their last 6 games, lose, draw, lose, win against Rotherham, but we played awful, and a win against Northampton, which perhaps with a little bit more luck than judgment. So will this bring a little bit of impetus back? Will this bring a little bit more enjoyment to the players? Hey, we can go on a winning run and get back into the top 10. It may very well be. In fact, if it is going to do, it's going to happen against this side, because it's against Lincoln City. Lose, draw, lose, win, lose. The only win was against Mansfield, and we know what they've been doing. Lost most of their last few games. In fact, all of them, is it? They've not been playing very well, have they? They've lost their main striker, and now, Barnsley, Duguivny out. Perhaps they will have a chance. Last time out against Burton, though, Lincoln, they lost in the 90 plus 2 minute. However, Lincoln City, this was a game where neither seemed to want to lose. And I said this might happen, and it did. It was a very boring game. 3 shots on target in the entire game, and there was only 15 shots at target in the entire game. Not one for the football connoisseur. There's not much you can say about this game except for Burton nicked it in the dying embers of the game, and I think neither side wanting to lose was the point here, and I think that Lincoln will be doing the same again. They don't want to lose this game. They want to try and just keep their heads above water. They should still be up in that top 6, thinking we're going for a playoff position, but now we've got Barnsley in 10th, Lincoln in 13th. What are you thinking? 2-1 to Barnsley, 3-1 to Barnsley, 1-0 to Barnsley. A lot of us thinking that Barnsley will win this. I think that impetus, even if it was against 2 poor teams, I think that it will get that mindset going for Barnsley, and they're at home. I just think that Duguivny red card may play a little bit of a thing here, and I'm going to go with Barnsley 1 and Lincoln City 0, and we'll quietly move on to the next game. It's finally here, Birmingham fans. You can start watching now. It's Birmingham versus Wycombe, first versus second, and last time out it was, of course, Birmingham winners at home to Leyton Orient. We thought that Leyton Orient could possibly make something of this game, but as soon as Jack Curry got sent off on 12 minutes, I think this really was a game it was always going to go one way. It was quite likely to only go one way anyway, but Leyton Orient had been doing so well. And then that just took the wind out of them, I think, and Birmingham really did after that just sit back, I think. But they sat back and played it. They were just playing it around as if they were saying, well, eventually we're gonna get score and win it, and we'll just wait and see. 77% possession, 27 shots at goal, 10 on target, and only 2 in the net. They'll be thinking, why the hell didn't we get sort of 5 or 6-0 here? And it should have been 23% to Orient, 3 shots and none on target. This should. It was just like a lackluster performance from Birmingham, and they still won 2-0. It was just like they were just taking it was like a training game, and they were just like knocking it around their own half. The number of times I saw the ball go to Birmingham, they'd pass it back and just pass it around the other back half. And it's like, well, we'll win it eventually. And they did, 2-0. They did just what they had to do, which is several of my subscribers have said, do just what we need to do. And yeah, I mean, John Morrell said it the same on Rotham's podcast. We do exactly what we need to do to get the 3 points, which is all we need to do to get into the Championship. And that's our goal. Well, here they did exactly that. They knew what they were doing. They enjoyed the game. Perhaps they should have won by a lot more, probably 5 or 6-0. But they didn't. In the end, what have they done? Lose, win, draw, win. That draw, 0-0, that was just a dogged, determining performance by Reading, wasn't it? Those 2 clearances off the line were just phenomenal. And Birmingham really should have won that one as well. But they didn't. They drew it. So they can be pegged back to a draw. Wycombe Wanderers win, draw, win, draw. They're dropping points here. And if we look at the table, Wycombe are in second on 64, but Wrexham are in third on 61. But Wrexham are also dropping points as well, and Birmingham are now starting to rocket away, 73 points ahead now. How many points do you think Birmingham will win the league by? Now that we're close to the end, we're not going to get silly comments like I did in June saying that Birmingham were going to win by 50 odd points. How many do you think, Birmingham fans? How many points will you win the league by? And who do you think will be the second team? Because I've been asked that in the comments, and I'm not actually sure which way we're going to go, because I think it will be one of Wycombe or Wrexham, and I think whoever wins it is quite likely to win at Wembley. So I think the top 3 will be most likely the 3 to go up. But there's always a chance of an upset. And we do have some good sides that can play some brilliant football, like Huddersfield and Charlton and Orient, who can play if they don't get players sent off. So it's we've got some good teams down there that could throw an upset at Wembley. What do you think? Let's see what people are saying in the chats and in the other videos. 2-1 to hang on a minute. No. 2-1 to Birmingham, 1-0 to Birmingham, 3-0 to Birmingham from Paul Estins. Thank you very much for the comment there. If more of you that come and watch it from Birmingham, if you do a poll and give me your prediction for the next game, please do tell me what you think of what I reckon. I think Birmingham would be too strong here. I think that Wycombe are just starting to flag here, and a few more. It's just too many draws. I think a draw against Cambridge, well, forget the FA Cup draw against Preston, a draw against Crawley, a draw against Wigan last time out, and actually, Wigan did a damn good job there, I thought, and they were. In fact, Wigan were really. They've been playing a few games now where they've looked like that side that they've got in over January can gel really, really well quite quickly, and I think they have started to. So Wycombe just losing a few points. I mean, they've lost 8 points in the last 6 games they've dropped, which is quite critical, I think, when you're playing a side as clinically brilliant as Birmingham. I actually don't agree with most of you. I think that Paul Elstins might have the correct score here, and I'm going to go for Birmingham 3, Wycombe 0, just like Paul said. So well done, Paul. I hope we're right. If I'm going to put a bet on, and if I win, I'm going to thank you in the next video. So we'll go from Birmingham to our next game, and thank you very much, Birmingham fans. Please do stay on board if you want. Like and subscribe. So we go on with Wrexham versus Bolton next, and Wrexham win, lose, win, draw. Peterborough draw. That was a humdinger of a game. I don't usually cover the Virtue Trophy, but that was an absolutely brilliant game, end-to-end stuff, 2-2. And they met a Peterborough side that weren't going to let go of that easily. And in fact, Wrexham lost on penalties. But the game itself was a brilliant game to watch, wasn't it? 2-2. Their only defeat, 2-1 against Orient at home. And Orient were actually on a roll at that point. So Wrexham can feel themselves a little bit unlucky playing the wrong team at the wrong time. Plus, they have changed their formation from always playing 5 at the back to playing 5 at the back or 5 in midfield. And they've been taking they took a little bit of time to get used to it, but they do seem to be just clicking now. In the last 6 games, they're showing that we can actually work on either of these two systems, and we can swap so that. The trouble was that opposition were coming in knowing how to stop them because they were definitely going to play 5 at the back, and all of a sudden they stopped doing it, but it didn't quite click or gel till probably about the Port Vale win in the Virtue Trophy last time round. Then it started to click, which it does seem to have done. However, they have had their moments where it hasn't quite worked, and the game plan should have been perhaps the other one, Orient being one of them. Not the Peterborough game, that was absolutely brilliant. Bolton, though, win, lose, win. They're actually starting to play well. They were playing well at the beginning, then they had a bit of a dull period. And lately they've started to pick up the points and start to raise up the table. It's 3rd Wrexham versus 9th Bolton, and if anything, Wrexham just seem to have lost a little bit of an edge. Not much, just a little bit of an edge, losing 1, winning 1 and drawing 1 in the last 3. Whereas Bolton win, lose in their last 3, or lose, win in their last 3, and go the right way around, John. And I just think that Bolton may have a little bit of an edge here, but we'll go with what shall we go with what you... No, I'm going to go against what you're all saying. Let's have a look what you're all saying. 1-1, 2-1 to Wrexham, 2-0 to Wrexham. I'm going to go play my joker. There we are. There's my little joker. I'm going to go Wrexham 1, Bolton 2. And I think the side in 9th is going to be quite happy. Where are they in 9th? They're in 9th with 53 points. 56 would take them at the minute to 5th above Huddersfield, so they'd be really, really happy. They're back where they thought they'd be in pre-season. In fact, a lot of people pre-season thought they'd be second or first. They were actually favourites at one point to win the league. So they obviously didn't think about Birmingham, did they? I'm going to go with Bolton, and we'll go on to our next game. So let's go Burton versus Mansfield, and Burton win, draw, lose, win, and last time out Lincoln City 1-0 win, and they nicked it in the last minute. These two teams didn't want to lose, and that was absolutely fine for the teams. However, the fans must have been really bored to tears. Not a game for the connoisseur of football. However, Burton nicked it in 90 plus 2 minutes, and that's about all I can say about that game. Move on to Mansfield, and Mansfield had a really good game, and it was actually quite even. What have they done? Lose, draw, lose. They've not been doing very well. However, the loss to Wrexham was really a little bit of a kick in the teeth for them, because Wrexham started well too, but own goal on 2 minutes to get them in the lead. Then Mansfield came back, and then Cleworth sealed it for Wrexham. But if you actually think back to the game, Mansfield had the edge here. 11 shots. Now, of course, they haven't got Gregory up front because he's injured for the season. 4 shots on target out of 11. They probably would have been quite happy with that. However, Will Evans... yellow carded. Evans and Vickers should be able to get more on target, I think. The pair are quite good. They should really be able to get a few more of those shots on target. They'll probably be disappointed again that they didn't really they didn't really click and get a goal, another goal to equalise at least against Wrexham. They did deserve a draw, absolutely. But it's not been going very well. The only point they've got in the last 6 has been Blackpool 3-3 away win. And they were actually 3-0 win up, weren't they, I think? And then drew 3-3, just throwing it away. It's really, really hard to say who's going to come out winners here, because we know that that Burton can score if they're given the chance. But it's one of those two. I think, but I'm just trying to think. Burton can score, but they tend to score like ones or twos or none at all. Mansfield do tend to score more goals or let more goals in. 3-0, 3-3, 0-3, 0-3. We're thinking those sort of scores. And I think that Mansfield can win this one, but Burton have the bit in their teeth, and I think that Burton will be the ones to win it. But it's a case of how many will they win it by. What are you saying? 4-1 to Burton, so is it 1-0 to Burton, 0-0. And yeah, I think that I'm going to go with one of you. I'm going to go with Burton 1, Mansfield Town 0. And I'm sorry, Roy, I just can't see. I can't see this turning round. We need to get more of those shots on target, because it should have been a draw against Wrexham, but it just didn't come to fruition. They may be able to turn it round, but we'll see. That's a 1-0 win to Burton, and we'll move on to our last game, Orient versus Charlton, next. So let us do Orient versus Charlton, and Orient lose, win, lose. Then they played reasonably well against Birmingham, their 2-0 defeat, but of course that sending off just early on in 12 minutes, wasn't it? I think that really did put the Kybers on it, and there was only one winner coming out of that game. After that, they also lost against Bolton the game before 2-1, but Bolton have been playing some really damn good football, and look where they are now, 9th in the league. They're showing that they're creeping up quite nicely, as the fans wanted them to do, of course. They're playing Charlton side, win, draw, win, lose, win. The only loss was against Birmingham. It's only 1-0, and they didn't play as I expected them to. And this is key here. Charlton didn't attack Birmingham, and I thought they would attack Birmingham. I can Bolton, he said. They didn't attack Birmingham, and I thought they would. They sat back and they did exactly what all the other teams do, and they did exactly what other teams do and lost 1-0. But it was coming all the way through the game. Will they play a game of we can just sit this one out, and our technical abilities, which they have got, will just shine through? They're not being so good away from home. Notice that the home play is a lot better, and their away form is just a little bit more risky. I think even with the one red card, Orient to me just have the edge. What are you saying? It's Orient in 6th versus Charlton in 7th. Remember, this could be set for a draw, but I just don't. There's only one draw, that was Blackpool in the last 6 for Charlton. Can't see it being a draw. 2-1 to Charlton, 3-2 to Leyton Orient, 2-1 to Leyton Orient. This is actually going to be really, really difficult, isn't it? I am going to go for one of you. I'm going to go for Leyton Orient 1, Charlton 2. I think that red card's just going to have a bit of a lasting effect into this game. I know Charlton aren't very as good away from home, but I could regret this one. It could be the other way around. I'm going to stick to what I said. I'm regretting it now. I think I should have put 2-1 to Leyton Orient, but I'm going to stick with 2-1 to Charlton. What do you think? Like and subscribe. And this is John Esser Sports Channel for one more prediction video. Please do like and subscribe. Watch it again and again if you want. I don't mind. John Esser Sports Channel over and out for one more prediction video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.